earth. So thank you, PHC family, for all that we get to do today together and through the year. So thank you. Give ourselves a hand. So yesterday I had the great opportunity to talk to JP. Is he here? JP, he might not be here. We are working with Salt Optical. And as you know, eyeglasses are one of the most essential things that we give out. And some of you may even have heard the story that I've told about being a child and not having glasses. And we didn't have money to pay for glasses. And my parents took me from church to different places to try to get free glasses. And by the time we would get there, the place would be closed or they'd be out. We were standing by this bus stop. My mom was crying and didn't know how to get me the glasses I needed to go to school. And a woman walked up and paid for me to get glasses from Fred Meyer. And that changed my life from being a bad student to being somebody who then had opportunities to rise and to be the person I am today. And that's what you guys are doing here today. You're being that person who was to me, her name was Frances. You get to be that Frances today, and I want to thank you. There's one or two things that drive me nuts about working in this field. And they're the misnomers and the stigma that probably a lot of people hear. And when you tell people today that you spent the day working with the homeless, people are going to ask you some questions. So there's two misnomers that I really wanted to address when I was talking to JP at Sea Salt, one of our new partners. I was saying to him, I love their idea that they understand there's a difference between bad street behavior and people experiencing homelessness. And then secondly, I love that they understood that the people sleeping on our streets and the people that are sleeping in our shelters are our community. People believe that it's the field of dreams that somehow we built services and people came. That's not accurate. 70 to 80% of the people we see outside are our brothers and sisters. They are San Franciscans. Another 10% come from somewhere in the state. And so we can't just look at them and say we don't know them. They truly are our community. And when you go home, pass that around. Let people know these are our brothers and sisters. And when we change the way we look, when we change that stigma, we're able to change the way we view people who really need help. I'm often asked what makes San Francisco so special that we were able to have not only PHC, which is one of the best practices in the country, but several other best practices like the Navigation Center, like Hamilton House. I could list the many wonderful organizations, Raphael House, Hospitality, all of those great organizations that we have here in the city. The reason we have them is because this city cares. And with the coming in of tech, I've kind of laughed as I watched Silicon Valley. Have you guys seen that show? And they've said, tech can change homelessness. Tech can change the world. Well, I actually found somebody in tech who I really think can really take a stab at ending homelessness. You all met her about 2 years ago. Her name is Rose Broom. She came to me with this idea, and since then has spread this idea of Hand Up, spread this idea, which I'll let her talk about. Since then, she has been awarded as an entrepreneur and innovator. This program has been replicated. Over $250,000 has gone towards our agency to give directly to participants for housing, for things like healthcare, things that they need to first and last month's payment, those types of things that we wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. And it's through her innovation and technology. And that's what makes San Francisco so great, is none of us sits back and says we don't know what to do. We all try. And thank you for being here today and trying. And I want to introduce you to somebody who never has given up and who really believed that technology had a place in changing homelessness. My good friend, Rose Broom, Executive Director of Hand Up.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here with you this morning to share the story of Hand Up and also to share the story of innovation that we all see here in San Francisco. So about 3 years ago, walking down the street, I had an experience seeing a woman sleeping on the sidewalk, and this is something that is so familiar to all of us. And I asked myself why, and why there wasn't an easier way to give and to help my homeless neighbor. And I took that idea and started talking with friends in the community, and got introduced to Kara at Project Homeless Connect, and I shared the idea with her, and she said, let's try it. I had no idea at the time what an incredible and rare opportunity and openness she had and that Project Homeless Connect has in trying new things and getting new models off the ground. Just the PHC model itself has now been replicated in 200 cities across the country. So she said, let's give it a try. And a few months later, we launched Hand Up right here at the Project Homeless Connect event. And now we have raised over $1 million in donations directly for homeless neighbors. We're in 5 states. We have 25 nonprofits that are using Hand Up, and that's all because Kara, Project Homeless Connect, and San Francisco was open to try something new, to use technology in a new way, and to create something from scratch, try it out, and launch it in the community. Thank you. All of you are here because you care, and you have to keep showing up. We have to keep on innovating. We have to bring our friends, and we have to end homelessness in San Francisco. I just want to finish by saying thank you to Kara, to the mayor, to all of the human service organizations that come here and work in collaboration, and to this incredible event that we all put on together to help care for our neighbors and to help create a better San Francisco. Thank you. Okay, I'll just tell you a little bit more about Hand Up. Hand Up lets you donate directly to specific homeless neighbors in your community on our website, handup.org. We also help nonprofit human service organizations raise money for their own organization, causes, and track all of that in our software. So you can, as a donor, see who you're helping, where your donation went, what your impact was. So if you want to be able to help a specific neighbor on our site or a specific agency that you really care about, you can go to our site, handup.org, and be able to help them directly. Thanks, everyone.
This next part is one of my favorite parts of my job, is introducing Mayor Lee. It's exciting. Give me a second to say why it's so exciting, not just because he's the mayor, but because he really believes that we can end homelessness, and he is invested, as you guys have seen with the West Coast mayors, to do all that we can do to put a change and end the suffering on our streets. And that is why, to me, being able to introduce this man is the greatest honor. Thank you, Mayor Lee, for all you do for San Francisco. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kara, for all the work and leadership you do. Rose and the Hand Up, thank you very much. Give another hand for Hand Up, huh? Well, beautiful people here, volunteers of San Francisco. Thank you. Welcome to the 62nd, it's almost close to my age, the 62nd gathering of our Project Homeless Connect. It's wonderful to see all of you here today to represent your humanity, your love for each other, your support for people who need help. But most importantly, the way we do things in San Francisco is the real answer for any complicated problem like homelessness is to come together and to share resources, ideas, not try to block each other's ideas out, and to try to do something that has an overall goal. So, you know, as the mayor of this wonderful city, I've had to think through many long hours and have a lot of conversations with people and try not to just react to emotion. You know, some people tell me on a daily basis, why doesn't that homeless situation just go away from in front of me? How come it has to happen? What's going on here? How come you're not doing anything about it? As if a mayor could snap his or her finger and homelessness will go away. Well, those of you who are volunteering today, those of you who are been part of 62 sessions, those of you who are working with us are realizing how complicated homelessness is and that how easy that one can slip into homelessness in an expensive city like San Francisco. And it's happening in so many other cities. And we have to be cognizant of it. What I've learned is that everything has got to work in a city in order to answer the challenge of homelessness, but also prevent it from happening. That's why you see me working with Mayor Libby Schaaf on raising the minimum wage across the entire state of California. Because having good pay prevents a lot of people from being homeless. That's why you have me working with the supervisors and so many community groups to prevent evictions from rent-controlled housing in San Francisco. That's another thing that we have to do. That's why we spend money building, rehabbing, preventing evictions, but building more housing like we haven't done for decades. We're doing it now. We're getting to a pace. We're asking developers to do more. We are doing more in our private sectors. And while we do all these things to have an ultimate goal of building more affordable housing and getting more opportunities there and having people have good jobs and stabilizing the neighborhoods, the people living on the street need our help on an immediate and on a transitional basis and permanent exits. And this is why Project Homeless is so valuable, because in many instances, these are the first touches for people that, quite frankly, not a lot of people are like Rose and others who walk by and say, hey, I want to help that person. You know, a lot of people walk by and they just walk by. And we accept it. And then we begin that barrier in our mind saying it's somebody else's problem. Homelessness is everybody's challenge. We have to have everybody working on it. And that's why I say thank you to all of you for coming together on this day, because the Project Homeless Day and Project Homeless and Everyday homelessness projects that we have now gather together not just volunteers, but our experts from our health department, our human services department, our social services department, our hot teams that Sam Dodge and Bevan used to help lead to get people into transitional homes like the navigation centers that we have, like shelters that we're trying to improve, like the lodging that we have at Pier 80 and are improving on an everyday basis. And today I get to announce that because of your help, because of the problems you help us identify and get deeper into, and the solutions that you're coming out with, and everybody's idea is welcome in this challenge of our homelessness, that today we're announcing another navigation center opening in San Francisco. Yes, another 93 units of housing that's going to be, for the next 2 and maybe 3 years, another navigation center right on Market Street. And we've done all the outreach. We've worked with the Plumbers Union Trust Fund that owns the building, and it's kind of been a rundown hotel for many years, admittedly. And what we've done is we're working with the community housing partnerships to manage the entire building with city funds through the nonprofit. And in the partnership, we're creating the second of our very successful navigation center. You know what, everybody? Have you had a chance to visit our navigation center at 16th? Get down there if you want to see what real hope is, because we're putting everything that we could possibly think is best models into our navigation center. That's a center where you've got all the services there on a 24/7 basis, that we're case managing all the issues that we're bringing in people of, that we have a welcome atmosphere, that people really want to go to our nav centers, because not only will they be treated humanely like people should be, but at the end of the nav center is permanent housing. This is what we promise in all of our nav centers. It's what we should be doing in every shelter, right? Yeah, we should have an end goal for everyone. And that navigation center, as we open them up, we're not just warehousing people. We're not just putting them in a place that they just sit there and don't do anything. We're trying to help them gather their lives, build friendships, reconnect with their families, get the public health that they need, get the services and support they need, create a system of support for people, just like you would do even if you weren't homeless. You know, when I moved into my neighborhood, I try to make friends with people, get a support system in there, because anything could happen wherever you live. And everybody needs friends, they need relationships, they need how our local communities can support them. And this is what we're doing with people who are homeless. They're ordinary people. Someone lost a job, someone got evicted, someone who came here and had great dreams like many of you do and fell on hard times. It causes it. What complicates it, and what we're all learning, is if you're on the streets too long, then mental health issues start appearing. And maybe self-medication and some habits start forming. Maybe you get together with people you didn't know, and all of a sudden they're not as friends as you thought they would be. All of this happens in real life. It happens on our streets. We recognize it. That's why we're developing this model of navigation centers, to answer that and to bring people hope, to give them a comfortable environment, to give them a supportive environment, to give them a successful environment. That's what all of you are about. You're all about creating that environment of people helping each other. That's why organizations like Hand Up are so valuable, and all the different tech companies, corporations that come and be part of the Project Homeless Connect are so valuable, because it brings us together in a humanity-focused way. And so we're going to do more of that. This navigation center is 93. Guess what else I have to announce? Today, 200 additional permanent units of housing for formerly homeless are being established as a result of this. You know, when you have a few thousand people, then you kind of say, well, God, that doesn't answer. Well, again, answering homelessness, you got to do it on a block-by-block basis. You got to do it maybe 100 units at a time. These things can't be done overnight. No one promised to answer homeless after night, but our dedication is real. It is human-focused. Is not moving people from corner to corner. Is really celebrating life and making sure we embrace the lives of the people that we're taking care of. And I commit to you, as long as I'm mayor, I'm going to help 8,000 people off the streets permanently. That's what we're going to do as a city. You going to join me on that? All right. How about a new department to end homelessness for 8,000 people? Consolidating all of that, getting efficiencies out there, getting the commitments, just like you have today, but on an everyday basis, ending homelessness for a woman, for a family, for somebody who is a veteran, or anyone who might have any challenges in their life, be it drugs or psychiatric issues. We're going to help them. And we're going to help them in permanent housing. And now we're going to be able, with this bond in June, to have a facility at SF General Hospital site, one of the greatest hospitals in the world. They're going to have a site to help people with their psychiatric challenges that we should be having. Not to close them down like past administrations have done. We need support for people who do confront themselves with the mental illness challenges that oftentimes living on the streets for years will create. So I wanted this opportunity to tell you, this city is on the move to help people. We've always been the city of St. Francis. You fulfill that by being here today and being part of it. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And if I had more time, I would do that 62 times to celebrate the people coming together, the spirit in which you do it, the spirit of San Francisco. Thank you for being volunteers. Thank you for being the greatest San Franciscans in the world. All right.